became good morning, it was good morrow. So good morrow.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? When it comes to the Old English, I don't think that others they are going to understand that well. But anyhow, we are going to dive into our history more than anything else, sir. And today we are going to continue what we have started last week, and today in Andalus, or Andalusia, as the Spanish are saying. And let's have just a small comparison, or to say Sarcosta, Sargoza, Ashbiliya, Svia, Cordoba, Andalus, Andalusia.
Right.
Let's speak more about those places, those wonderful places, and the main features of this era, when the Muslims were totally responsible for the Renaissance of Europe.
Excellent. And what a nice introduction, because that was, for example, of Maghrib, which became then Madrid.
Yeah.
And by the way, these are not only words that we can read in history books, or we can discuss it in a history episode. One of the very, very good books, which is Al-Andalusia, or Al-Andalus, Searching for the Absent Identity. This is a book which is translated into Arabic. We've got it here in the translation organization of the Minister of Culture. And the guy who wrote the book was a Spanish guy with the name of Julio, and then he titles himself Al-Maghriti. He didn't title himself Al-Madridi. He went back to the origin of the Arabic word. But talking about cities, and you know that I love Cordoba, and we talked about Cordoba in the last episode. But today I shall tell you a good, if we are talking about comparisons, let's compare the 4,700 silver lanterns in the great mosque of Cordoba, dangling down ours wood or wooden ceiling. What a beautiful place that is. And compare this when you were illuminating streets in Cordoba at night. And
when you need us to show you the photos, would you please just let us know?
Excellent, thank you very much. And compare between this business of you were illuminating 350 Hijrah, year of Hijrah, you were illuminating your streets 900s AD if you like, and in 1819, 28th of March, 1819, I'm talking about a very precise date, a newspaper in Germany called Colonia newspaper wrote what? The gas illuminated streets is a spreading human evil against the godly night, the godly darkness. From their point of view, the God created the night, and you are not acquainted with the fact that this is a godly or a godly creation. And by this, you are putting lights in the streets made out of gas. You are illuminating the lights. This is against the godly night. See how the point of view, I'm talking 1819 in Germany. And you were, how many years before that, illuminating the streets of Cordoba and illuminating thousands of markets, shops, and so on. One of the interesting shops in Cordoba, we decided last episode that Cordoba was famous for something we call specialized markets. You want to get paper with all its types, go to the market of paper. You want to get medicine, go to the medicine market. One of the interesting markets that I really like its idea is rare flowers market in Cordoba. Rare flowers. That will give you what? That will give you, they were not only scientists and genius people in medicine, and as we are going to go back to one of the most amazing characters I keep on reading and get amazed about all the time, but they were also elegant people. They were nice people. They wanted to look nice. For example, tablecloth. Something that you never think about in history. Islamic invention made by the Muslims. We have a man called Ziryab. Ziryab comes from the famous musician.
He was such a lovely voice.
From Baghdad, and he went to Andalusia. He was there. He changes this great goblets that you drink on, heavy stuff that you drink your fluids or your water or your juices in, and he introduced glass cups. Introduced beautiful things. Introduced the 3-course meal. The three-course meal
So
is
it's
an
not a
Islamic
French
and an
invention.
invention. Ziryab. The three-course meal that we all know about in five-star hotels, that's Islamic. We have drawings of Muslims on a table with napkins right beside them. This is delicate. This is interesting.
Etiquette.
Abbas etiquette. Abbas ibn Firnas, well known, and we talked about him a lot in our last episode in Ramadan, about his navigation and how he lasted more than 10 minutes navigating, while Leonardo da Vinci did not, here comes, attempt navigation. Did not attempt navigation. Not that he navigated and failed or thought about it, he didn't attempt it. He didn't even try to navigate. But he was also, Abbas ibn Firnas was only the guy who started to reinvent and invent glass. In his library, he made, and his books, and then he makes a lab. He makes simulation of thunder and lightning. That's Abbas ibn Firnas, thunder and lightning. By his own simulation and by his own show. These were people who were totally out of the box. Now, 6 miles away from Cordoba, let me introduce you to a place that you'd be amazed at, called Al-Zahra. And from Al-Zahra
Al-Zahrawi?
came Al-Zahrawi.
Yeah.
And from Tabaristan came Al-Tabr.
Tabari.
And from Farab came Al-Farabi.
Yeah.
Here. And so on and so on, Al-Baghdadi and Al-Qurtubi and so on and so forth. Now, Al-Zahrawi, not only the inventor by his own hands, over 200 surgical instruments. Over 200 surgical instruments. He drew them, and in color and black and white. We've got some pictures if you like to start the pictures. And you will notice how in his amazing books, his amazing book, Al-Tasrif, and in Al-Tasrif, he drew for us the surgical instruments. And here you go. And he practiced trachea operations. Opening in the neck to reach the trachea.
I would like to get in here and ask you, how did they start by knowing or attempting to exercise medical operations? Did they practice over sick people or over, what they call the dummy right now? Or how did they do it? Right now in the United States and in Europe, they practice over a dummy. Sometimes they practice over dead bodies, like here in Egypt.
In the Islamic world, they started where the Greeks ended. And that's from where this business of the translation, I call the translation revolution, which took place in Baghdad and other places. And by the way, in Baghdad, Al-Ma'mun, for example, here comes the ruler. Here comes the role of the ruler. The ruler should do this. What is Al-Ma'mun? You will translate the book of Bassam Shammaa about history. Translate it from, I don't know, Greek, from whatever, into Arabic. The weight of this book, you will be paid in gold.
Yeah.
The weight of the book, you will be paid in gold. This will encourage you. And that's why don't get amazed to know that, for example, a gentleman like Hunayn ibn Ishaq. Hunayn ibn Ishaq was for a book. For gallon. Gallon or Gallinos, I like to call him Gallinos, in English is Gallon. Gallon and Hippocrates. Hippocrates and Gallinos. You can put them right together. So the Arabs loved Gallinos and loved his work and loved to correct him. And that's another thing they did. And Ibn al-Haytham corrected the Greeks.
Sure.
Hassan ibn al-Haytham
Hassan
in how, yes,
optics.
The optics. So
Yes.
he corrected. They corrected each other. So Ibn Sina was corrected. And that's Ibn Sina. They call him a Sheikh al-Ra'is.
Yep.
Because he was the top of the top. So back again to Hunayn ibn Ishaq to give you an idea how they are searching for the documents and for the books. Al-Hunayn ibn Ishaq wanted to get Galen to copy it because they liked copying these books and putting it and studying it.
Here is another
And
one
here,
that
you see, that's Al-Zahrawi.
Yeah.
So Hunayn ibn Ishaq started traveling, searching for that particular book. So he goes from Iraq to Syria, and from Syria to Palestine. And by the way, Al-Quds had the most amazing library of manuscripts and books. Nobody mentioned a great deal about that, but very world famous. And from Palestine to Egypt, And in Egypt, it goes to Alexandria. See, from there, and then we are talking Hunayn ibn Ishaq. We're not talking aeroplanes. We're not talking trains. We're not. We're talking very harsh way of traveling. All the way to get one book to copy it. And he succeeded in getting half of it in Damascus. Right? The ideas, we mentioned Hassan ibn al-Haytham, we mentioned Hunayn ibn Ishaq. Let's also go back to al-Zahrawi for a minute. Because I'm keen to tell you this business about they were not only dealing with heavy stuff and this, but they did things that we use today. Al-Zahrawi invented the deodorant. The deodorant was invented by Al-Zahrawi. Al-Zahrawi invented teeth bleaching, whitening of the teeth that everybody, I don't know, people go and travel and go to the dentist.
Al-Zahrawi was the first to use the silk threads to bond or to tighten any artery to avoid bleeding inside even a surgery.
You know, he reminded me of cat guts, because cat guts or the guts of sheep and how it dissolves naturally.
Yep.
And this business, we call it nowadays under the skin. Yes, the under the skin and the tajmeel and the plastic surgery. So how about nasal spraying? Al-Zahrawi invented it, the spray of the nasals, of the nose, of the nostrils. That's Al-Zahrawi. Al-Zahrawi tongue depressor. You know when somebody goes to the doctor, open your mouth, and he puts this long, thin wooden thing, and then he's pressed on the tongue, and he goes, say to see the pharynx side and to see the throat inside. Tongue depressor, that's how it's called. That's Al-Zahrawi. So Al-Zahrawi was not only that amazing genius of surgery, and a surgeon, no, he was also dealing with things like that. Hand creams that you put. That's Al-Zahrawi, exactly. That's Al-Zahrawi invention. In the last episode, we mentioned things about when the King of England sent to the ruler of Muslims, Hisham ibn Abd al-Rahman II, telling him, take my daughter and a group of scientists from England to teach them there at your great university. I the ruler of the Muslims, Hisham ibn Abd al-Hakam. But correction, apologies. He was Hisham ibn Abd al-Rahman. Now, we also mentioned something about 5,000 words in Arabic is now in Spanish language. This is influence. This is how you influence in language. And that reminded me when we were mentioning some of the taken in English, anglicized, they called it, and things like, and sometimes Latinized, something like, for example, Abu al-Qasim al-Zahrawi. But because Abu al-Qasim was a bit probably tough for the West, so he became Abu al-Qasis. And we mentioned Amir.
I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's Galbaltar. Gabaltar.
Jabaltar, yes.
How to pronounce it?
Yes.
Galbaltar.
It's R and then altar, yeah. And the interesting thing about, the famous square in London, Al-Taraf Al-Aghar.
Trafalgar.
Yes.
Trafalgar Square.
Al-Taraf Al-Aghar. One of the readings that I read, it was the famous place of Al-Taraf Al-Aghar. And because there is no ta and there is no words, it became Trafalgar. But let me take you back to the origin of words. I mentioned Amir Al. And then I mentioned the suffix, apologies, correction, it is the prefix. Because the AD in Latin is the prefix at the beginning. So Amir Al becomes Amir Al. Admiral. Now.
And it's Amir Alai.
Amir, and then later on in Suffa. Al-Suffa. Al-Suffatu. Suffatu. Suffa in Arabic, in elite Arabic, is a seat in the vicinity of a mosque and it is shaded. That's what you call in Arabic Sofa. Al-Sofa.
Sofa?
Sofa. Could that be the sofa? Yes. Another one. Banan. Banan in Arabic is a finger. The fingers. Banan. Yushar lahu bil banan. Pointed at him with your finger, meaning, oh, what a great man, what a great lady, what a great building. Always pointed with your finger. Yushar lahu bil banan. And the Arabs used to put the Arabic word of banan al-mawz. Al-mawz is the banana. So banan perhaps became banana,
Banana.
afterwards, because it was the banan al-moz. And this is the expression that you use today in Egypt and places, صباع الموز, because it is the finger of the banana, or the banana finger. Another word, qund. Qund is the very freezed fluid or juice of the sugar cane. So it's sweet. Qund becomes kandi, candy.
Candy.
So the word candy, which is sweet, is the juice, the freezed juice of the sugar cane. Al-Mukha. Al-Mukha is a beautiful place in Yemen, in Taz governorate. Nowadays we are talking about Taz, and we see what's happening there. Yes, yeah, God bless them. Yeah. Right? So Al-Mukha was from where coffee was transported to other places. So Al-Mukha became Al-Mukha, and Al-Mukha became Mocha, and became the Mocha coffee. Things that you use today, and you are still. But we cannot pass the geniuses of Islam without talking about a man that will mind-boggle you. Sinan. Sinan was a famous Ottomanic architect. Over 477 buildings in Bosnia, in place everywhere. You go places, you will find the buildings in many places. But in Ottomanic Empire, in Turkey today, he had the famous mosque of Suleymaniye. There, the very thin, beautiful, elegant minarets and the dome. You look at it, and it's gorgeous. It's a nice visit, you study it. But did you know that this dome and this minaret, which was made by Sinan and designed by Sinan, built by this guy, is against earthquakes? We are talking about 1500 earthquakes. So this huge minaret, thin, any earth movement or any earth tremor will get it down in any of other buildings. But Sinan, when he built it, he thought of earthquakes, and he built it in a way to be against earthquakes, or between the... Inside the mosque, there will be lights. Lights will have fumes. So in the way to cleanse this expelled, to cleanse the smoke from the expelled air out of the mosque, he didn't let that kind of smoked, expelled air from the mosque go like this. He directs the air into a room, and the room had a filter, and the filter will collect the soot. We call it hibab. And the soot will be collected in this particular room. He will collect the soot and use it as ink. You tell me, is that the first recycling of air? Can you recycling air? For God's sake, I mean, this is amazing. Go always out of the box ideas. So no wonder the famous traveler and doctor, and by the way, most of them you will find them like this. He's an astronomer and a doctor and a traveler and a writer and a poet and a musician, and Al-Farabi was a musician, and lots of talents. Lots of talents. So no wonder Ibn al-Ghazar, the very famous doctor Ibn al-Ghazar, man, and a traveler as well, he died and left us 250 tons of gazelle manuscripts, gazelle skin, gazelle leather manuscripts, 250 tons. And that's why the Pope of Rome, 999 AD, said, we don't have anybody in Rome who deserves to be the protector, porter of a library of those of the Muslims. We don't deserve this. That's who? That's Sylvestrus, who was the Pope of Rome, 999. By the way, Sylvester, the Pope of Rome, passed through where? To study a little bit and read a little bit. He passed the famous Qarawiyyin in Fez, Qarawiyyin Mosque, which became the Qarawiyyin University, which became the first university in the history of mankind, as we know universities today, built originally by Fatima al-Fihari, a Muslim lady. Who's studying there? Who's reading there? Ibn Khaldun. Who's reading there? Who became later on Sylvester, who became the Pope of Rome? The Pope of Rome read in the university of a Muslim lady. You tell me. When we mentioned hospitals, and we mentioned, do you know, there is an interesting thing. Salah, when we mention him, we always mention how this man, a great tactic, military guy, we talked about him in some episodes
But he
here.
was fond of chemistry.
The man was out of this world. Do you know that in the great fortress of Damascus, in one of the gates, he ordered to made 2 gargoyles. One gargoyle, one water spout, to give out milk, and the other one to give out sugary water. Why? 2 days a week, mothers will head to that gate of the fortress of Damascus, and they will get milk for free, and they will for their babies, and they will get sugary water for free. Not only a military genius, but also a humanitarian. A man who's thinking about mothers who cannot afford get to their kids. You tell me those characters. How can we employ? How can we call upon those characters to come back on our memories and in our history? Not only talking about them, but also following them.
But the question is that why aren't they fully recognized by Arabs themselves? I mean, they're not very popular. I mean, they're not working to be able to express those names to the Western world. Well, they are recognized in the Western world, in the history, when you read books.
Thank you very much.
But right here...
You know the last sentence you mentioned? Remind me back again to Sinan. Sinan has got his name on a crater on Mercury. The West is honoring Sinan, the famous architect, the genius architect, by putting his name on a crater on the planet Mercury to honor him. What about El Patagonos, the crater on the moon? Another place of the moon is called the Patagonos, Al-Battani, the famous man who studied this and that, the movement in the Celestial Kingdom. But let me tell you, there was a great deal of effort made lately, something called 1001 Muslim Inventions. And that museum circulated around the world, and it came in the Library of Alexandria, by the way, and an amazing huge book with all what you need information, English and Arabic. Beautiful. And that is telling us many things about what you are mentioning now, telling the world about it, and they're now on the internet. And there was a very good bit made by Ben Kingsley. And he was telling the kids and the children who is teaching in a library or something, and he's telling them, oh, you are calling it the dark ages. Let me tell you the golden ages of Islam and about Muslims. Paris new hospitals 900 years after the first hospital in Islam.
Let's focus on names, on more names next time, inshallah. Let's focus on, for example, Ibn Rushd, Ibn Hazm, Ibn Sina, as you've mentioned, Ibn al-Haytham, because unfortunately all those names are very much famous there, but with different names. And we are going to speak about them using their Arabic names to urge people to just pronounce their names as is and as there was called. Promise?
Remember, next time, inshallah, will be Eid. So let us talk about the history of festivals so that we can celebrate with the world, and we'll be back to history directly. You don't have to tempt me.
Next time, inshallah.
Thank you,
Hopefully, inshallah, we'll be having you. Thank you very much, Mr. Bassam Shammaa, author and historian, author of Egyptology. We'd like to see you again next week.
Thank you.
With the promise that you are going to be rating more about festivities the time of the Islamic era. And we're going to go to a short break and come back to you.
شمسك بسما هي ظل ظليل هو عبد الله سيد الخلق ومصطفاه وحبيب الله خير مبعوث بوحي الله مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم يا رب صل عليه يا رب صل عليه يا رب صل عليه صلوات الله عليه هو خير عباد الله خير البرايا حي بالله حلو الوصايا نسألك الله أن تجمعنا يوما برسول الله من كوثره يروينا فتقبل يا رباه مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم يا رب صل
Welcome back. Nice spiritual good days are going that fast, and the 30 days of Ramadan are moving to the end of the holy month that fast, and we are living in the last 10 days. Days are of a very special value, and all Muslims around the globe are using these days to benefit from them to the maximum. But how? And what about Laylatul Qadr, or the night of revelation, as a trial to translate it, but it is Laylatul Qadr because we cannot, or the night of Al-Qadr, because we cannot find a very accurate translation to this great night. We are going to ask many questions to our dear guest live here in the studio to tell us more about the night of revelation or Qadr, and about how to benefit from those last 10 days of the holy month of Ramadan. Dr. Ismail Hamid, thank you very much for being with us, sir, and have a very good day first.
Thank you.
Good morning, Dr. Hamid, and let's first talk about Laylatul Qadr, and we try to explain to the viewers the importance of that particular night. Of course, nobody can just we will only guess. It's by the end of the last half, but in particular, what are the conditions on which we can calculate that this day could be Laylatul Qadr, or that day, or whatever?
Okay, so first of all, thank you for the invitation, and I'd like to congratulate all the Muslims in every part in the world of such holidays that we have, and the spirituality of Ramadan, and surely that the month it's very fast. And just we have few days that's still of this time, and we have the best days of the whole month. We have the best days and nights in maybe in the whole year that during this time. And as that we have tens of days that they are very special. That is the last 10 days of Ramadan, and also the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, the first 10th. These also that they are mentioned in Surah Al-Fajr. Okay, walayalin ashr. So these are very special days, special nights in our life and for the Muslim faith. Surely that that time that we have, especially for the night of 27th, okay, of Ramadan. You know that I revised all the traditions of Prophet Muhammad in Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. That is about the last of Ramadan, and I found that for the it was gradually fixed for that time. At first, that Prophet Muhammad, he knew the night of Al-Qadr, and he has that for him, that it is in a special night. And in such a night, when he would like to inform the companions about this night, he found a dispute between two companions. Both of them, they talk about the night but it was in such a way that was not comfortable for Prophet Muhammad. So Allah made Prophet Muhammad to forget that night. So he forgot it. So he told the Sahaba that you should follow that night during the 10 nights or 10 days of Ramadan. After that, he asked or he ordered them to follow them during the last seven nights of Ramadan. After that, in another tradition, all this in Sahih al-Bukhari, that he told them to follow it, surely that during the individual nights, especially the 25th, the 27th, and the 29th. Nice. And also we have a very important tradition of Sahabi Ubay ibn Ka'b that he swore Allah that it is in the 27th night of Ramadan, that for the Laylatul Qadr. So surely that also to be to be a known night for us, I think it's very important and very good for us. Because if we know especially night and where it would be, so all people that they will be, in such neglected ways with no importance or with no, interest of this during the whole month, and just they fixed all their efforts, okay, during that night that they know. Okay, so just when they follow this during different nights, so they should have more efforts for the worship of Allah during that time. Surely that we have also lots of signs for Laylatul Qadr, and the most important signs that they talk about, there are no rays for the sun. So for the people when they follow that night, so they look at the sun, during that time there are no rays for the sun, so it would be that night also with such an impression or internal impression inside the person himself, with such a comfort that he has. That is what is inside him. But what about before, or what is in front of him or outside him on the heaven? The most important sign that there are no rays for the sun. So surely also we have lots of things that related for Laylatul Qadr, because that is the night or the special night for the Muslim for the revelation of Quran. And also during the month of Ramadan, as you know, that Gabriel, that he came to Prophet every day in Ramadan to revise with him the Quran, and also to fix the verses. You know that Quran as a holy book of Allah, that it is entirely collected, that is in Lawh al-Mahfuz. So Allah, it is all for all the verses of Quran and the chapters with the special orders. But Allah make it for the Prophet, or revealed it to Prophet Muhammad according to the events that he has during his lifetime, and also the incidents and also the events that he has, the battles or ghazawat and all these. So Allah, he revealed. And as you know that even before the creation of the world, the whole universe, 50,000 years, Allah inscribed that he ordered the that to write all things of the life of people, the number of people, their names, their destiny, the time of their birth and the time of their death, all these informations that is before 50,000 years of the creation of the universe. So everything that it is fixed by Allah by His order, okay, but after that, it would be according to the events and everything after that.
Dr. Hamid, let's go back to the night of Al-Qadr and why it was named Al-Qadr. Arabic is a very rich language, and because of this, the Holy Quran is a miracle in itself. Yeah. As far as I know, that it was named Al-Qadr as if it is destiny, because our destinies can be changed if we prayed, if we knew well how to benefit from this night. And there is another meaning that the earth was so crowded with angels when the Holy Quran was delivered to earth to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and so its restriction. من قدر عليه رزقه أي من ضاق, the one who is restricted with his earnings, but he could offer with things even if it is a little thing, and this is a holy verse of Quran. Can we know more about the details of the meaning of the word Al-Qadr in itself?
I agree with you with all the definitions that you said, that our language is a very rich language with different definitions, even on one word, and even one word that we have a word and the controversy of the word, or the contrast of the word itself.
Yes.
So, for example, that is strange, even that to have the word and to have the opposite of the word on the same time. For example, Mawla. Mawla could be the Lord and could be the slave. You know this, so you know that. So something very strange, and we have lots of things in the Arabic language for this. So every time it depends on the context that you have, the words and the text that you have. So it depends on this. So for the Arabic language, it needs someone who is very special, very profound, and has knowledge of the language. Surely for Laylatul Qadr, it is similarly to be with the destiny. Yes, we have lots of definitions that we can have for this, and even for Al-Qira'at itself, that you know. So we have 7 readings for the Quran, and every reading, you know, that have has a different story for this. But for example, that a destiny, because it is a new destiny for the Muslim. You talk about the revelation of Quran. So that is the miracle of Prophet Muhammad, and you know that all the prophets, all of them, that they have miracles, but their miracles ended with the end of the prophet or the messengers himself. But the only miracle that's still existing, even after the death of the prophet more than 1,400 years ago, and still, so it is the miracle of Quran. So that is a very special thing. And also that is the book of Allah. And as you know that we have 4 books of Allah were revealed for prophets. Okay, the oldest one, the Torah of Moses, and the second one was the Zabur of David, Dawood alayhi salam, and we have the Gospel of Jesus and Isa alayhi salam, and then we have Quran. All of the other books, nearly, that you know, just for the Torah, and was lots of you know things about it, and just for the first five books of the Torah, okay, and also for the Gospel of Prophet Isa, and that, as you know, that in Quran that we talk about, it was revealed for Jesus and Isa himself. But now we have 4 Gospels with different names of the apostles, okay. But Quran is a special case for this, because it was revealed for Prophet Muhammad, and also it was ordered also by Prophet Muhammad. So I think for the revelation of Quran, that is a new destiny for the whole Muslims, okay, the book that all of the Muslims, that all of them, they are gathered, okay, all around that book. Okay, we have the guidance of Allah, we have orders of Allah, we have everything. And we have also the interpretation of Quran and lots of things of it with the tradition of Prophet Muhammad, with the Sunnah. Okay, so as you know that, that is what's related for the destiny of the Muslim, and the miracle, the eternal miracle for that is for the Quran. That is what I feel that it is the best definition of this.
Right. Of course, people who try to speculate what is the best time to pray, what is the best time to perform all the, the rituals that are associated with that particular night, all those days that you mentioned. Whoever who could pray for God, does it have to be before Salat al-Fajr, or the prayer of dawn, or it could be throughout the whole day, by daylight? What's supposed to be done?
You know that the night of Al-Qadr, or the night in Islam, the night in general, it starts with the sunset. You know, so it could be the beginning of that night, okay, should be at the sunset, okay. But the signs of the night, it would be at the end, during the dawn time, that you can find that, and you see the heaven, and to see the signs, the sunrise and all this. So the night, as I said, that from the sunset to the sunrise, that is for the night of Islam, and that is the beginning of the day for us.
So you pray before that time? You keep praying?
No, that is, you have the time, or you know, that you pray during the whole time if you want, okay? From the sunset of such a night to the sunrise, or for the dawn during of that time. For during the whole